everybody? I hope y'all are hearing audio. Let's see. Let's see. Rebecca said the whole system's acting just a little weird tonight. So hopefully y'all are seeing this and hearing this. How y'all doing? Okay, Rebecca's giving me a thumbs up. How are you? Everything coming through now? Rebecca says she's hearing sound. Okay. I don't know. The whole system's acting a little squirrely tonight. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show. Well, let's start again. Hi, I'm Walter, a travel advisor. And as always, I'm here with my wife, Rebecca, sitting right off camera. And today, we're talking about MSC Cruises and my new inflatable ship. I'm so excited about my inflatable ship. Oh my God. I saw this thing like literally the moment we walked onto the ship. I saw this. I was like, oh my God, I have a new toy. And Rebecca was so excited. I now have 3 inflatables, a plushie, and a couple of small ships. So I'm very excited. How's everybody doing? Oh my goodness. How's everybody? Wow. We got a whole bunch of folks on the line tonight. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good. I hope sound is back up. So tonight, we were just on the MSC Seaside. I know a bunch of you were following along on TikTok, and I put a few up here as well. But we finally went on MSC. I know y'all were asking us, hey, what's MSC all about? How is MSC? So we finally went on the MSC Seaside. That was our 9th cruise line. And, you know, everybody has seen all of the negativity on MSC, right? You know, there's been a lot of negativity on the food, on the ships, on the service, and all this other stuff. So, you know, we actually had some trepidations going on to the MSC Seaside. We were like, you know, I'm not sure how good of a cruise this is actually going to be. It's the first time in a long time I've been nervous about going on a cruise. And I'm happy to say that not only did we have a good time, but we'll gladly go back on MSC. To be honest with you, the ship wasn't perfect, but the ship was good. The service was very good. Food wasn't perfect, but the food was a lot better than we expected it to be. And yeah, there's some weird things that MSC does, but you know, overall, we actually had a very good time on MSC. And now, if you didn't follow along, we purposely went standard, right? We did not go yacht club. Everybody that we know said you gotta go yacht club if you go on MSC. I don't believe in that. I believe that if there's a cruise ship out there, you should be able to have a good experience as a regular sailor. And of course, you're going to get a better experience if you go to the ship within a ship. So we purposely went standard. And not only did we do that, admittedly, we did go as travel agents. So we took advantage of some travel agent rates. And when we do that, we have to go Bella. So let's talk about what the four levels of MSC are before we even get started. So you have Bella. That is your guaranteed level. That means you don't select a cabin, you don't select the dining time. They're going to do it all for you. You do pick interior or balcony. We chose balcony. Then you have Fantastica. That's most of the ship. That means that you get to select your cabin and you can request a dining time. You're not necessarily going to get it, but you can request a dining time. So
just like it can sell out, like early dining can sell out on any cruise ship if you just wait too long.
Exactly. So MSC, at least on the Seaside, they had 3 seatings, like a 5:30, a 7:30, and a 9:45.
5:15, 7:30, 9:45.
So Rebecca has to correct me. There you go. I thought 5:30 was close enough. Apparently not.
5:15 is
5:15.
So early.
I know, it's so early, and 9:45 is so late.
And 7:30 is just right.
And then you have the Aurea experience, which is essentially the spa level on any other cruise line. You get access to the thermal suite in the spa. You get anytime dining in. You do get anytime dining in the dining rooms. And those are like the big perks you get right there. And then of course there's the yacht club. So the yacht club is a ship within a ship, priority embarkation, 24-hour butler, 24-hour concierge. You have your own pool, your own lounge, your own restaurant. And then when you go to Ocean Cay, you have private golf carts. You have your own area of Ocean Cay. So that is the whole ship within a ship. So there's 4 experiences, and we went Bella. We went the most basic experience there is out there We went how we would typically never send our clients because we like to pick their cabin. We don't like surprises for our clients. But we have sailed so many times, and we felt comfortable saying, you know what, we're just going to go ahead. We're going to let it ride, and we're going to do the travel agent rate. We ended up all the way up on deck 15. There are 16 decks of cabins. We were on deck 15, just right above us with the yacht club. And we lucked out, I have to say. We were on the starboard side about mid forward. And what really, really impressed me about the Seaside was how smooth it was up there. I mean, it almost didn't even feel like the ship was moving. We're all the way up on deck 15. So, usually you get a little bit of sway going on up there. Really didn't feel it that much. I don't know if stabilizers were out or it's just the design of that ship, but that ship was smooth. I mean, it was really smooth through the water. So, yum. Oh, good to have some tea. So let's talk about MSC and what we found out about the ship. And again, this is not perfect. So if you haven't looked at the pricing on MSC, they are at or below Carnival very often. And in fact, we just priced a set of 4 cruises for a client, and Carnival and MSC were almost the identical price, except MSC included the Wi-Fi and the drink package. Carnival was just straight up cruise only. So if you've not seen the pricing on MSC, MSC is really value price. And we met multiple folks on the ship, or at least I did. We had a family of 10, we had a family of 21, we had a family of 12 or 14. It was really interesting to talk to them and find out, we priced Carnival. We thought we were going on Carnival, but this was such a good deal that we couldn't pass it up. So especially if you have a larger family or you got a larger group that you're bringing together, you might want to start looking at MSC as an alternative to some of the other cruise lines out there. But incredibly, incredibly affordable. And there's Sarah saying that she wants to get on the Mirabilia before MSC realizes that they should raise their prices. I still don't understand, even going on the ship, how they charge what they charge. I think it's very interesting that they do have those very low rates, and yet the staff, the dining staff is all dressed up very similar to Princess. They've got the slack, the shirt, the vest on. So very European, very proper dress, if you will. The ships obviously are gorgeous. The MSC, the Seaside, definitely could use a dry dock sooner than later. I mean, there was some carpet that was old. There was some shattered glass around the ship. There were some other things where, the ship just like, okay, this really could use a dry. It needs some tender loving care.
Nothing major.
No, but it needs a good month in dry dock just to take care of things.
Little surface things here and there.
Yeah. But overall the ship was quite lovely. They look gorgeous from the outside. You see them in port, they look like a big yacht. And from the inside, what kind of cracked me up was all the chrome. I mean, they are in love with chrome on that ship. Actually, that cruise line, like pretty much every ship, they are just loaded with chrome. And I've not seen so much chrome and so many mirrors in a long time. And there were multiple times, I know Rebecca said the same thing, like we almost walked into mirrors if we just didn't even realize we're walking straight out ourselves.
Yeah, it looks like the hallway is just going to keep going, except it's a mirror.
It's a mirror. So Nurse Tara's asking, how old was the ship? So the Seaside is the original of the Seaside class, and she's from 2018. So she's only 5 years old at this point, not even 5 years old, I don't think.
Which is about time for a dry dock.
Yeah, this is about time. About every 5 years, they're going to go in for a technical whatever. And I think the Seaside is headed over to Europe at some point right after the new year. So possibly while she's over there, like before she comes back to the U.S., maybe she'll go in for her dry dock. I haven't seen the schedule yet.
I haven't either, but all those soft goods, particularly upholstery and carpets and curtains and things, they just need to be regularly replaced with that many people using them.
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot of people on that ship, and let's just start with the overall vibe of the ship. I mean, so we've been on Carnival, we've been on Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Disney, and I say the vibe was similar to being on a Carnival ship, except it was very European. And when I say European, I mean the guests on board. There were so many languages, so many cultures on board that, it was kind of like a blend between going on to like a Carnival and a Celebrity, because on Celebrity, I hear a lot of other languages and coming in. But it was very, very interesting to be on the ship and see how people were interacting and just the size of it. I mean, there were some big families on there, lots and lots of little kids running around. It felt like there were more kids on there than there were on the Symphony back in December, maybe just because we saw them more. And I thought one really interesting thing from the parents, multiple parents said they felt the splash pad, the kids pool area, which on this particular ship is the Forest Adventure Park. On the newer ship, the Seashore and the Seascape, it's like Pirates Cove or something like that. They felt they were better than anything on Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, and even Disney. Some of them liked it more than Disney. And I have to say, it's quite the pool area. And the ones on the newer ship now, the Seashore and the Seascape, are larger. So the Seaside and the Sea View are the original two. They have one less deck than Seashore and Seascape. Those two actually have an extra deck. They were made larger. They're called the EVO, or Evolution, of the Seaside. And that's actually what we're planning to go on next. It's probably the Seashore, because she's coming up here to Port Canaveral. And we're going to do the yacht club on that particular ship. Not sure when yet, but we will be going to do the yacht club on that ship. So, hey, Desiree, how are you? Hey, Dallas. Hey, Nurse Tara. Hey, everybody who's tuned in. Let's see. Jessica's on here. Just Cody's on here. Michael, how are you, Michael? Joe's in here. Hey, buddy, how are you? Thanks for joining in. And looks like Scott's here as well. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. But welcome to the show. Glad to have you all along. But the first thing, so let's just talk about the ship. So the ship, I felt, was a little bit choppy in its layout. Even like on the last day, I was still getting myself turned around. This was one of those ships that I really had a hard time getting myself figured out which way was forward, which way was backwards. And then there were just areas where you couldn't go all the way. You know, you had to go up and over or under and then come back up where you wanted to be. So it was a little bit choppy in that layout. The atrium was, again, chrome, lots and lots of chrome for miles in there. It was lovely. And of course, Rebecca's favorite part, the staircases.
Yeah, it was pretty.
So were they just as pretty in person as you were hoping they were going to be?
In the daytime, no, but when it was the lighting was lower, yes.
Yeah. So when you first get on the ship, it's daytime, and you're like, "Oh, these are pretty staircases." And then when it gets dark, it's like, "Oh."
Yeah. I was just so happy I didn't trip.
Yes, because Rebecca.
Well, on those stairs.
Exactly.
I did trip. I almost fell down.
Yeah,
the pool area, but that's another thing.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But the ship itself and the staircases are every bit as what you want them to be. Everybody's trying to get the picture on them. They're super cool. Apparently on the newest ships, the World Europa, and I guess on the World America, they only have them up in the yacht club now. They're not necessarily in the rest of the ship. The rest of the ship kind of gets these boring stairs. And again,
they're chrome.
Yeah, they're chrome. The other thing I noticed about the ship, for a ship this size, a lot of the venues were small, quite small. The theater was small. The arcade was pitifully small. They had a disco, very small. So a lot of small spaces. The Haven lounge, or whatever they called it, that was not a bad size. That's about what you would expect. If all the venues were that size or larger, it would have been better. We were told by some crew members that actually on the Divina, which is a much smaller ship, the theater is almost 4 times the size of a theater that was in here. It was a very small theater for a ship that size.
But I will say, like the dinners, they had 3 shows every night as well.
Yes, and hats off to the entertainment team. I mean, they put on 3 shows every single night. And I'm just like, wow. A lot of times you're like, wow, that's impressive. They do 2 shows. They did 3 shows on.
They did have guest performers a couple of nights.
Right. But I mean, when they did 3 primary shows. They did a rock show. They did Peter Punk, which was their version of Peter Pan, which was sort of kind of like a Cirque du Soleil, where you have a loosely threaded Peter Pan story and a bunch of circus acts happening, which the tumblers were just beyond belief. I still don't quite understand what we saw, but it was amazing. And then they had a Michael Jackson tribute show. The one thing about the shows is that they were really loud size of the theater. They did not need to be that loud. And in fact, the Michael Jackson show, we only made it through about 10 minutes because the bass was reverberating so hard through the theater Rebecca had earplugs on and she still couldn't.
Yeah, it was still too loud. I mean, I will admit I'm sensitive to noise. I absolutely admit that. But yeah, I've never been in a theater before where with my earplugs, I couldn't take it and I could not take it.
Yeah.
And let me just say, if it was me, now I've never had small children, but if it was me, if I had small children, I would make them wear hearing protection because it's just loud.
Yeah. And I will say nobody was leaving the theater. I mean, everybody was enjoying the show. And what I'll say about the entertainment is that it's entertaining. It's not the best entertainment. You know, if you're used to Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Princess, they're almost Broadway caliber shows. They're very tight, lots of staging, really nice theatrics, great acting, great singing and dancing. It's a good show. It's not to that level at all, but they're very entertaining. But of course, you have to keep in mind, well, how much am I paying for MSC versus how much am I paying for Princess, Royal, Norwegian? You're paying a lot more for those cruises. And I think for what you were paying, these were good shows. They were very entertaining. Nothing wrong with them at all.
They turned the volume down just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Good.
And Cody, I see your question. I'll be there in just a minute. The entertainment throughout the ship, I thought they had some really good musicians. You know, there were a couple musicians you're like,
but they had a lot of, like, they must have had about 12, 15 different musical acts.
I mean, you normally see like 3 or 4 acts and then they're all over the ship, but it seemed like every time we were coming out, there were different acts. There was basically one guitarist that I saw a lot.
There was a saxophonist.
A
duo.
And they were popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Like we went up for our specialty dinner and the saxophonist was up there one night, and another night it was the guitarist was up there. So they were all over. So there's a lot of music on the ship, lots of parties. They like to party on MSC. So pretty much every night was a party in the atrium or a party on the beach at Ocean Cay. So they had White Night, 70s night. They had another night that I'm blanking on, but they have a lot of parties. So if you really like to get up at night and have a good time, and you know, and they don't even start till like 10:30 in the evening. So they party late on MSC.
And we partied in our sleep.
We did. We were pretty pooped by the evenings. I was doing a lot of filming, a lot of working on the ship. But our friends Mindy and Zach, I think, stayed up a couple of nights and partied with them.
2 nights we did go to our assigned dining at 9:45.
9:45 in the evening, which it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, we did have a late dinner. The funny part of it was that we had the bowling right above our heads. Literally, the bowling alley was right over our table. So we could hear the ball rolling down and then hear the pins. And I was trying to keep score because there were 2 lanes. So I was trying to like figure out, like, well, how many pins went down?
The first night it was figuring out, wait, what is that?
What is that?
And then it occurred to me, oh, the bowling alley's up there. I bet that's the bowling alley.
And then as each couple sat down, you see them all going, and we're like, up bowling. Really? And then they listen and like, oh yeah, that is bowling. And it just became funny. You know, it really did. It's like, you know, some people could get up and complain and go, I can't believe they're going to send me. We just thought it was funny. It was hilarious. And I really want to go to Italy and meet the designer who thought this is a good idea. You know what, Guido? We're going to put a bowling alley right above. Hey, Luigi, that's a great idea. Yeah, I don't know who thought that was a brilliant idea, but it's really, really funny. So if you're sitting at table 718 in the Ipanema dining room on the Seaside, you're going to hear yourself some bowling. What else? Oh, the chocolate shop, just phenomenal. I'll talk more about that soon.
Although I was very disappointed, their hot chocolate is apparently made from powdered mix.
Yeah, it used to be syrup apparently, but now it's powdered mix. According to Stephanie, it used to be a syrup. But overall the ship was lovely. The pools were deep, 6 foot deep at least.
I couldn't. I'm only 5'5", and it was above my head. If I could stand, they were saltwater, so it was a little. At least the one I was in was saltwater, so it was a little hard to get all the way down to the bottom, but it was definitely above my head.
So the jungle lounge pool is the one that has the retractable roof. So, you know, when it's inclement, they can close it down, but they pretty much had to close at night and then they would open it up in the morning. The Miami Beach pool is the one, or maybe Miami pool. That's the one up on the top deck. And that's huge. I mean, absolutely huge. And then, of course, the South Beach pool down below on the bottom, but they were all deep pools. They're really, really nice pools. Props to them for that. And we basically hit the pools on a port day. because, just like any other ship on a sea day, the top decks are hopping. They're just totally hopping. Lots and lots of people.
And none of the pools were adult only.
Yeah, there were no adult only pools on this particular ship. We've heard that there might be one on the newer ones, but certainly on this ship, there were no adult only pools. There was also the zip line, which is rather unique up top. Now, if you've been on the Oasis class Royal Caribbean and you did the zip and you're like, or you didn't do it because you saw how short it was, totally different. This is really, I'd say it was a good 30 seconds. It's a long zip from basically mid forward all the way to the aft of the ship. It was a fun ride. Now, you do pay, I want to say it was $10, maybe $11 to do it. I think it's worth it to do it once for sure, because it's a long ride. It's a very long ride. And I did notice Seashore and the Seascape, the new ship, do not have it. They got rid of it. Partially, they added that extra deck up there or something, but they don't have it on that particular ship or those particular ships. So overall, the ship was lovely. The spa. We'll talk about the spa briefly. We did the let's just say this. If you don't know, MSC does status match. They're only one of really 2 cruise lines that I know of that does it, MSC Virgin Voyages. So if you have status on another cruise line or Hilton, Marriott, the RIU all-inclusive resorts, I mean, they have quite a few things that they will status match to. You apply on the MSC website. So we're elite on Princess, so that's what we applied against, and they gave us gold, which is the second level. I mean, it's second to top level. And that gave us 1 hour in the thermal suite. However, we could have stayed in the thermal suite all day if we really wanted to. They weren't checking.
For free.
Yeah, for free. So we got 1 hour for free, but we could have just stayed in there all day. It was a decent thermal suite. It looked kind of utilitarian. It didn't look very soothing. They only had 3 of those heated lounger things. The salt room only had like 4, maybe 6 chairs, and it only had a salt wall. It wasn't like a whole salt room.
Yeah.
The fun little shower things, where you do a hot shower, cold shower, or cold shower, hot shower, cold shower, hot shower. The last one didn't work, and they were shooting up instead of down. So it was almost like, it's blinding. It's not very comfortable.
Made me giggle, though.
Yeah, she was hysterical in there watching her do it. And then they had an outdoor area. And the strange thing about the outdoor area, it looked no different than the rest of the ship. And they did not have padded loungers. They're just the same loungers you get up by the pool. And I'm like, well, if people are actually paying to use the spa, they should at least have padded loungers sitting out here. And I don't think I've ever seen a spa area that doesn't have at least
there really wasn't any
loungers.
Kind of decoration or greenery or
it wasn't very pretty. It wasn't very pretty. I mean, it was, let's put it to you this way, it was functional.
Yeah.
The sauna was hot as heck. They had a snow room. They had the salt room and all these things. It was just, again, it was small, very, very small for a ship this size.
I'm really not sure what it would have cost if we'd had to pay for it, but I certainly enjoyed a free hour.
Yeah, if you get the free hour, again, they weren't really checking at all. Like when we left, I'm like, "Do we have to sign out?" She said, "Oh no, just go ahead." So I mean,
it wasn't busy because we did it on a port day, so everybody was off. So maybe if it was busier, maybe they would have checked.
They might have. But so the spa is there. I don't think it's particularly beautiful. The ship we were on before that was we were on Virgin Voyages, but we were also on the Sky Princess. And Sky Princess had a gorgeous spa.
We did the tour. We didn't actually use the facility, but we did a tour.
So the spa is there. I'm sure it's a decent, services and all that. We didn't do the massage or anything like that. But the thermal suite, it's functional. Let's put it here that way. It's functional. It's not all that pretty. And then again, only the 3 loungers, the 3 heated loungers. So Cody asked about the buffet. So let's go ahead and move on into food because that's my favorite thing. I was going to transition into the cabin, but we'll do food. Then we'll talk about the cabin. All right. So Cody is asking, how was the buffet set up? So in my opinion, and it's my opinion only, I think Rebecca might agree. We'll find out. But the buffet and the main dining room was better than Carnival or Norwegian based on our sailings on those ships.
Yes.
And then the main dining room itself was better than Royal Caribbean. Yes, no, or maybe equal to Royal Caribbean?
Equal.
Yeah, maybe about equal.
Although Royal Caribbean had a better buffet.
Yes, Royal Caribbean had a better buffet. So the buffet, I will say, first of all, the pizza, amazing. Really, really good. Not my favorite, not the best pizza in the world, but I would say that the Princess still has the best. I would put Virgin ahead of MSC, but MSC had the best red sauce. I mean,
Carnival's was good too.
Oh yeah, Carnival's was very good too. But MSC is the first one that I've seen where they actually make a true red pizza with just spices. There's no cheese on it. That's a very traditional Italian red pizza, and I really, really like that. But on the buffet itself, there's hits and misses, of course, but they for 2 nights they had homemade mozzarella and homemade burrata, which was unreal. In the salad section, they had the most unreal artichoke hearts I've seen on any cruise. In fact,
I don't. First half.
Yeah, first half of the cruise. First 3/4. But I've never seen artichoke hearts even just to buy them.
Yeah, they're like almost the size of a child's hand.
Yeah, they were so big. They were so amazing. So what they did well, they did really, really well. The bread was weak, which kind of disappointed me. I'm an Italian American, and being Italian and seeing weak bread on an Italian ship was kind of disappointing. But oh well, it is what it is. Breakfast was completely repetitive, but that's what it is on every cruise ship. Lunch was, I'd say, 80% repetitive with some things changed around. Dinner, I'd say, was about 70% repetitive. But as Rebecca just alluded to, they did start to run out of things as we got towards the last couple of days. In particular, like the breakfast potatoes, like they ran out of potatoes in the buffet. And so they started putting out steak fries in the morning, which kind of made me laugh. I'm like, steak fries? How do you run out of potatoes on a cruise?
Well, it's still potato.
Yeah, still potato, And this is just an annoyance. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe that they, ran out of potatoes. Some of these people.
Nothing we're going to say ruined our cruise.
Yeah, some of these people are like, my cruise was ruined. They ran out of breakfast potatoes. I mean, really, that's a pretty sad life you live if breakfast potatoes ruined your cruise. But yeah, so they did start to run out of some things, on the buffet. But
which is not entirely
unheard of. Potatoes, a little weird. But I would say, the pasta was mostly good. The rotisserie meats were good. It's like kind of like the usual suspect. But I would say that the quality of the food, the hits, were higher than Norwegian or Carnival. Carnival, I was very disappointed in their buffet. It was just very weak, both in the selection.
Well, I have heard some of the older ships have much bigger buffets than the Mardi Gras, which is our only Carnival experience.
Yeah. So I thought the buffet experience was good. Now, there are people who complain and say, oh my God, there's like no quick eats. Unless you're going to the main dining room of the buffet, you can't eat. And well, at least on our cruise, the pizza was running from 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. So that was open continuously. And then the buffet did have a midnight snack from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. So, I mean, really, the only time that you don't have food on that ship is from 1 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Now, for some people, that could be a problem. 6:30 a.m. So for some people, so for some people, that could be a problem. But I mean, literally, there's like 5 hours you can't get food, and you can get room service too. So yes, there's not that quick service somewhere on the ship. You've got to go to the buffet, all the way to the buffet. Oh, well, it's on deck 8. It's like in the middle of a ship. The one thing that was a little weird, they did have the Biscayne Bay buffet on deck 16. It's a smaller buffet, and at least on this cruise, it was only open for breakfast, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't open for breakfast and lunch at least.
7:30, I think, to noon.
Yeah, and I get not opening it for dinner, but it seemed like it should have been open for lunch because that lunch,
little quick eats. Something.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was jamming at prime time in the buffet. I will say that. I will say we never had a problem finding a seat. I think this is the first time that we've been on a ship and you go in at prime time, and we really just, it was pretty quick to find a seat.
Walk around a little bit.
Yeah, but we found a seat every single time. Tremendous amount of outdoor seating on the buffet. I love that. It's always like, oh, they're seating in the back of the buffet. Well, this is like all down the side. They just had al fresco dining all down the side of the buffet. That was really, really nice. Lots of people taking advantage of that outside. So that was lovely. Absolutely lovely. The pizza alone would win you. I'll tell you what, when there's nothing else on the buffet, go for the pizza because you're going to enjoy that, and probably the pasta. And I'll tell you one thing I did. So they put the mozzarella out at night, the fresh mozzarella. Oh my God. Like you're going to pay like $7-8 for just one of these balls of mozzarella in your grocery store. And they just had bowls of them sitting out there. So the next day for lunch, they had some left over. They had them out there. So I took one and I started slicing it up. I went and got a slice of pizza, a couple slices of pizza, started putting the mozzarella, like the fresh mozzarella, right on the pizza. Oh my God, it was so good. So
I mixed it in with my pasta.
She mixed it in with the pasta. And the 4 cheese pizza or the 3 cheese, I don't know how many cheeses they put on it. That's a really good pizza too. And they literally just brought it out. In fact, I walked up one time and I said, oh, no cheese pizza. And the chef's like, 3 minutes, coming right out. It comes out, said, you got any fresh basil? Oh, fresh basil? Yeah. And they go get me some fresh basil. They start putting basil on the pizza for me. Oh man, I was in heaven. So literally, if there's nothing else on a buffet, just go for the pizza.
I just can't even imagine how many pizzas they make in a week.
I have no idea, but they're just constantly coming out. And it's a beautiful dough.
Thousands of pizzas.
It's a beautiful dough. When you see the guys working with, I was like, oh, I was so jealous watching them. Hey, Christy, how are you? I hope the move is going well. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Yay. Okay, so that's the buffet. The buffet, what?
Ice machines.
Oh yeah. So the big negative and again, this is once again saying that the ship is ready for dry dock. I didn't mention the coffee. Wait, let's talk about the coffee first. They had decent coffee on the buffet. Like I could actually drink the coffee in the buffet without dumping it out. It was actually it's some of the best buffet coffee I've ever had on a cruise ship. Right? Still not great coffee, but fully drinkable. I was very excited about that.
Not so much.
Huh?
Main dining room, not so much.
Yeah, no, main dining room is terrible. But so now to the ice machines. There were approximately, I would say, 6 ice machine water stations. You've seen them on every ship. They're those silver things. You push one button for ice, you push one button for water. Every ship has the exact same machines. Well, on any given day, maybe 2 of them were putting out ice, maybe. But there was literally one day where none of them were even working at all.
And no water was coming out of the
no water, like nothing was working from any of them. And I'm like,
so they had big bowls of ice and carafes
of water. It's like, how do you, like, that's just a basic thing in your buffet. Ice machines should work. The basic water dispenser should work, but they were having problems with them the entire week. And I'm like, okay, this is something that really needs to be addressed. And you would see an engineer in there every single day working on the darn things. I'm like, maybe it's just time to yank these out, put new ones in. But again, dry dock,
I'm sure they get a lot of views. So
yeah, and they do on every cruise line. I mean, we've seen the exact same machines on every ship, and I've never seen. And you see them, from time to time. 1 or 2 may not be working. But this was like 1 or 2 might be working
throughout the week.
Yeah, so it was annoying. That ruined my cruise. Let me tell you, totally ruined my cruise. Ice machines.
I am somewhat obsessed with ice.
She's obsessed with ice.
And I brought my own water bottle. Yeah. And whenever there was ice, I'd make sure to dump cups of ice into
She's like,
my
oh my God, there's ice. And so she'd just be running off. So it's just kind of funny, It was hilarious. But yes, Nurse Tara, and again, I'm a coffee snob. It's not like it was, oh my God, this is the most amazing coffee ever, but it was drinkable coffee. And I was very excited. And they had these really nice mugs, like actual coffee mugs, heavy coffee mugs, really nice coffee mugs that are exactly the same ones that they sell in the store. So I'm just saying, they're really, really nice coffee mugs. I'm used to like lightweight ones or really chintzy ones. These are like real coffee mugs, and it was really nice grabbing a cup of coffee. And by the way, so you come out of the buffet, which is deck 8, you go down one deck to deck 7 and go right to the very back, right to where the South Beach pool is, and just look down. You got a view looking straight down on the aft with the wake coming out of it, and you got your morning coffee. That's all you need. That's all you need in the morning.
You got that. The side that's non-smoking.
Yeah,
There's a smoking section.
Now, if you are a smoker, this is a very smoke-friendly cruise line, and I don't mean that smoke is in your, because we're non-smokers and we like to stay away from the smoke when we can. So it wasn't in your face, but there were more smoking areas on this ship than I have seen in a long time. And I was told that there's even an entire section of a yacht club, and they sell cigars up in the yacht club for smokers. So if you are a smoker, it is a very smoke-friendly ship, and we have some clients. One client in particular who loves to smoke his cigars on the ship, and I'm now going to be, talking about the yacht club and saying, hey, this would be a good experience for you. Okay, so we talked about the buffet. We didn't really talk about the main dining room yet. Let's go down to the main dining room. So first of all, we were assigned 9:45 in the evening. Not our first choice. However, it may have worked in our favor. One of the complaints about the main dining room is food is cold or food comes out really, really late. Now, if the food is cold, that is not the fault of the chef or the cooks. That means the food is sitting in the past too long. Like they completed it, it's sitting there, and the servers just have not come to get it to bring it to your table. So that's a symptom of the food not being hot enough or being cold. Now the 5:30?
5:15.
5:15 and the 7:30 seatings were sold out, completely sold out. Yeah. The 9:45, however, the first night we went in, it's about half full. Second time we went in, it was only about 25% full. So because the dining room was not full, that's in our favor. We had a problem with our food being hot.
It was plenty hot.
Plenty hot. The food came out quickly.
Yeah.
So we had absolutely no problems with our dinner. So while 9:45 may not have been our first choice for dinner, it may have actually worked out in our favor because we got better service from some of the folks that we were talking to on the ship. That we had a little problem.
The second time we went there, in the section that was our servers section, right where we were, I think they had another section, another part of the dining room, but that we were the only people there.
Yeah, we were the only people there.
So
still bowling.
Oh yeah.
Still bowling. They were still bowling above us. Bowling at 5:30 so I could bowl on somebody's head. That's what I really wanted to do, and we never got around to it. So that's
as
all. As
loudly as possible.
Loudly as possible. Just throw the balls and just really get it. But I really wanted to. So, but the main dining room. Now, the first night we went, actually, it really blew me away because it was some of the best prime rib I've ever had in my life. It was really good prime rib, and the overall meal was good. I mean, it wasn't the best meal, but I was like, wow, this is really, really good. Second time we went, it was okay. It's okay. The weirdest clams I've ever had with pasta. What is my camera doing? Oh, this whole night is just acting a little strange. Sorry, guys. I hope it's not cutting out too much. But it was a weird consistency with the clams, and they were okay. And just everything about the second dinner was okay. It wasn't the best. It was just okay. But, not the worst. And then we ended up just going up to the buffet to kind of graze a little bit. Yeah, Nurse Tara.
You did. I didn't need anything else.
That's true. She didn't need anything else. But, yeah, Nurse Tara, maybe choosing the late option, like if you can go have a late lunch or maybe just do a little grazing on the buffet before you go along.
We only did the dining room twice. We did specialty dining 3 other nights and buffet to the remaining 2 nights.
So we had dinner in the buffet a couple of nights, and we never had a problem finding something to eat. I mean, maybe it wasn't like the most exciting thing in the world, but again, there's always pizza.
I had
when all else fails.
I had a lot of carbs.
We ate a lot of pizza, a lot of pasta.
We are eating salad this week.
Yeah, we're eating salad this week. And then let's get on to specialty dining. So what's kind of interesting about them, up on the deck 16 is where all of the specialty dining is. Like one area. And by the way, that's the best bar on the ship, at least that I found. Deck 16, you walk into the specialty dining area. There's a big bar right there as soon as you walk in. That bar is really, really good. So on the left side, specialty dining is what they call the Asian market kitchen. It's actually 3 different menus that they serve in the Asian market kitchen. They have a teppanyaki room. They have a Pan-Asian menu, which they say is basically Hawaii. And then they have sushi. And during our cruise, we were offered a 3-dinner package on the Asian side for $109 per person. That worked out to about $36 per meal. And it's like, hey, plus gratuity, obviously, but it's like, wow, $36 per meal. That's pretty doggone good. So we love all 3 of those things. We love teppanyaki, we love sushi, and then the Pan-Asian. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. So we did. And all 3 meals, the Pan-Asian and the sushi were great. I mean, they were really good. The teppanyaki was decent. I think Norwegian and Royal do it better. But it was decent, certainly worth, the $36 that we paid for.
And I think if you did the experience meal a la carte, it was, I believe, $44 or $46 a person.
Yeah. So it was worth it. The one thing that he really did on the teppanyaki, he overcooked the salmon. The salmon was really dry, so he let that way overcook. But the sirloin, oh my God, for me that was the star. Rebecca doesn't eat meat, but the sirloin on the teppanyaki was so freaking good. And he was entertaining. It was fun. It wasn't nearly as loud as, where were we the last time, where it was so loud when we did it. I can't even remember which ship we were on the last time when we did it, but it was loud.
Well, when we did it, we were on the Escape.
The Escape, that was loud. That was a lot of banging and singing and dancing.
But it was when we were on the Symphony, we weren't in there, but it was right across.
Yeah, we were having the sushi in Azumi. I think Azumi is still some of the best sushi that I've had at sea. And then raw on 5, sushi on 5 on Celebrity is really, really good as well. But the sushi was really good. And the Pan Asian restaurant, really, really good. The teppanyaki was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't the best, but I think it was still worth the $36.
And then the Pan Asian, the crab cake appetizer was literally the best crab cakes I've had in my entire life.
That's probably the best thing we had on the entire ship, with those crab cakes. I could have a whole meal of those crab cakes. They were amazing.
Give me 5 orders of that, I'm done.
Yeah, they were absolutely amazing. And then the filet that they served that night to me was unreal. And then to top it all off, we had the most amazing sunset. That was our night in Ocean Cay. We had an overnight in Ocean Cay. So we spent the day on the island, came back on the ship for dinner. We had the most amazing sunset, and then I went back onto the island. So that made it even better. Nurse Tara is asking if they had a lobster night. I don't know. Did they?
We were at specialty dining on their
elegant
night. So if they had it, that probably would have been the night.
It would have been the night. So I don't know if they did or not, to be honest with you. I didn't see the menu that night. We were in teppanyaki, I think, that night.
I think so.
Yeah, because everybody was like decked to the nines that night. Yeah, except us. We're like, screw it. We're on a cruise. We're going to be casual. I did have a white night shirt, though. I had my Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends shirt, which is mostly white. Anyway, and so that was the food. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the food. Now, the cocktails I thought were not the best. I did not find a good old-fashioned until I found that bar. That was the first time I really found a good one. Now, Zachary, who was in the yacht club, let me taste his that he made in the yacht club. That was really, really good. Found the one in that bar right there on deck 16 as you go into specialty dining. Again, I think that's the best bar that I found. Now, not the best old fashions. I think the ones that Elliot made for me on Sky Princess, and definitely the World Class Bar and Celebrity, they make the best ones out there. And pretty soon we'll be going back to the test kitchen so I can get that cinnamon one again. Oh, that's so good too. So, and by the way, some people do complain about long lines at the bars, especially out by the pools. And I did see that. I saw that these long lines forming up by the bars. Pro tip, go inside. Go to the Seaview Bar, which is on deck 8, I think, inside. No line, like nobody there. So you just, hop the elevator, go to the Seaview Bar, get your drink, go back up to the pool. Easy peasy. The one thing that did surprise me, though, they were allowing glass bottles and glasses out by the pools, which really shocked me, because usually they don't allow any glass anywhere near the pool, because if, God forbid, somebody drops it, one, it's dangerous because you can cut yourself. But if glass gets in the pool, they got to drain the whole pool, clean it all up, and then refill it. So that did kind of surprise me that they were actually allowing people to carry glass bottles around the pools. Anything else about the pools or the food or anything like that?
There was me almost tripping on at the pool.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. And we did talk about the pools and how deep they were. And I jumped off the food, but in the Jungle Land pool, they have these raised platforms with padded loungers.
Either side of the pool.
Yeah, to either side of the pool. And it's got like stonework, got like fake stonework on the ground and fake stonework below. And when you're walking across that platform, you may not really notice that it's a raised platform with a step that goes down.
It's kind of that gives the effect of being all one level. And if you're not paying attention, I mean, they do have 2 little tiny green things that say watch your step, but if you happen.
And so, Rebecca, well, why don't you tell the story? Tell me what happened.
I'm walking and I'm looking ahead of me, because I'm trying to figure out which side I need to go on to find a restroom, and I wasn't watching. It was mostly my fault, and I just walked right off the edge, and I was about to face plant, and my arm flung backwards. And luckily, a gentleman was sitting in the lounger on the very end, and he grabbed my arm and kept me from falling face first on the stone.
And it was literally like Rebecca and this gentleman. They were the only two people there because the ship was in port. I was off filming around the ship, and just this one gentleman sitting on the end and her. So luckily, he caught her.
Oh, Nurse Tara, I have had crab cakes in
I haven't.
Baltimore.
I haven't.
At Hausner's. I don't know if that's where you consider the best crab cakes. I have had those. They are very, very, very good. These were better.
Wow. And I see Bill is going up there shortly too. So I think we all just need to meet up in Baltimore, folks, and go. So Nurse Tara, we're just going to give you a call. All of us, everybody, we got like 26, 27 people on here right now. I think we're all just going to come to Baltimore, say hello. We're going to knock on the door, say we want crab cakes, and then you can just take us to where
my sister went to school there. She went to Maryland Institute of Art.
That's right. So awesome. But I will say those I think they were called Hawaiian crab cakes in the Asian kitchen market. Those were probably the best thing we had on the ship all week, except the affogato.
Wow, but that has coffee.
Oh my God. I've never had an affogato like this in my life. Y'all probably saw my video on TikTok.
Okay, different one.
I went absolutely nuts over the affogato. So an affogato, if you don't know, it's generally a scoop of vanilla ice cream or vanilla gelato. You put it in a coffee cup and then you pour the espresso over it. That's it. It's a very simple little drink, but not in the Vinci chocolate shop, where one, you get to pick your flavor of gelato. I picked hazelnut. They put chocolate syrup all around the glass. They put the affogato in. They put the ice gelato in there. Then they top it with chocolate syrup. They top it with whipped cream. They top it with nuts. Then they pour the espresso on top of that, and just a little bit of espresso, like just enough. Oh my God! Just like, and it's only $7. That's the thing too. You know, something like this. Like if I got this on Celebrity, it would have been $15 easily. But they're only charging $7 for this thing. And I was like, oh my God.
It is not part of any of the drink packages.
It is not.
So just so you're aware.
By the way, we did not do a drink package at all. Did you ever like look to see what we spent?
I never saw your name was on it first.
Okay, so I'll have to take a look. So we, just so you know, we went without a drink package at all. Just because we knew it was going to make it work out better. So, oh, good Lord, Nurse Tara, see what you did? You got Bill's coming to Baltimore. Jessica's coming to Baltimore. I think we're just going to have to go to Baltimore and go up and see her.
It's been a long time since I've been. I remember going with my sister out for Indian food. Don't have any idea where, but it was some of the hottest Indian food I've ever had.
So Nurse Tara, do you know where the hot Indian food is too?
Well, the restaurant probably isn't there anymore. This was back in the 90s.
Love it. Okay, so we've talked about food. We've talked about entertainment. We've talked about the ship. Oh, we didn't talk about the cabin. And by the way, I see that Christy came in a little bit late and asked about the entertainment. So Christy, as a recap, the entertainment was entertaining. It wasn't up to the level of Royal, Norwegian, or Princess. I think those ships have really good Broadway caliber shows, but it was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining.
And since you have small children, I would recommend, if you ever do sail MSC, make them wear hearing protection because it was
very loud. Very loud. Very, very loud. So let's talk about the cabin. The cabin, so we had a standard balcony cabin, cabin 15070. It's on the starboard side, about mid-front is where it is. The first thing I will say, and I said it earlier, the ride was flipping smooth. I cannot get over it. 7 nights on that ship, I didn't feel the ship move. Really, it was so smooth. You know, when you're up on deck 15, you should feel a little bit of, sway back and forth. I didn't feel anything. I mean,
virtually nothing.
Yeah, virtually nothing. It was really
it was a pretty smooth waters.
Yeah, we were definitely in some smooth waters. That big storm that kind of came in on the west coast of Florida didn't affect us at all. But even so, I mean, it was an incredibly smooth ride being all the way up on deck 15. It's your standard balcony cabin. One thing I did appreciate, there was no coffee table. So I don't know why everybody feels like they have to put a coffee table in the room, but when you put the coffee table in there, it makes the room that much smaller. You got to walk around it and all this. So it made the room feel wider. The cabin basically felt the same size as the one that we had on the Carnival Mardi Gras. Totally functional. The balcony was a little deeper, I think, than most modern balconies. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit deeper than most modern balconies.
Perfectly good size.
Yeah, perfectly good
size. For 2 people, certainly.
Now, of course, the bathroom's going to be small. They always are. The shower was
tiny,
very small, very small. And basically for me, I could spin around in it. I could basically spin around in it, and that's about it. Really good water pressure, though. Man, that shower had some serious water pressure. But the bathroom was efficient. Actually, the layout of it was actually really good. It gave you the most room that I think it possibly could. The one on Carnival felt even tighter than this one.
Yeah.
Because it had the toilet on the right, shower on the left, and just like this little narrow walkway.
Less tight, but
yeah.
Overall,
this one they stacked up the toilet and the shower on the right side, so it kind of gave you a little wider path to walk in, and you kind of had a little wider space. Now you did have to watch your right knee when you sat down because it could bang into the bathroom cabinet, especially if you're taller, you're going to bang it right in there.
And for anyone keeping track, they had the pump dispenser with soap at the sink, which was kind of nice, not to have to deal with a bar of soap. And then in the shower, there was 2 dispensers, one with shampoo and one with body wash.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always bring my own conditioner anyway, because I cannot abide the conditioner shampoo combo because it doesn't condition.
Yeah.
But
good solid water pressure, good temperature on the shower. The sink was actually quite deep, which was nice.
Yeah.
So it was a really nice deep sink. So very efficient bathroom. In some ways it was almost better than the one that we had on Scarlet Lady, because the one on Scarlet Lady was just kind of wide. Definitely felt bigger than the one that we had on the Mardi Gras. I don't think it was, but I think it's just the way the layout was. It felt bigger than the one on Mardi Gras. I think on the Mardi Gras they did squeeze a slightly larger shower into it, but it was a very nice cabin, and the balcony, like I said, slightly deeper.
And now we'll say one thing about the shower on Virgin. The nice thing about those, doesn't matter for us because we're not tall people, but if you're a tall person, they have the rainforest showers in all the showers. So it's not like you're having to duck under to get wet. It's at the ceiling level.
And one little thing that was kind of nice, they still have the wooden railings, the teak railings, which was kind of nice. On Carnival, I think even on Princess, they have those white, like plastic or aluminum railings, whatever they are now. They actually still have the teak railings on there, which is a nice little touch.
And they came up to about my chest.
So, it's going to be 48 to 50 inches high. So, but it was very, very nice touch. Now, Nurse Tara's asking if the bed was comfortable. I slept like a log. I was out.
I would say it was reasonably comfortable. I thought Princess was way more comfortable.
Princess has really comfortable beds.
But I thought Virgin was in the rock store rooms. They're amazing beds.
Yeah. In
the regular rooms, they're not.
Yeah. So these beds were more comfortable than Virgin Voyage's standard beds. Princess beds are definitely better. I was out. I mean, I was out every single night like a light. And in fact, I usually wake up about 5:30 on cruise ships. I don't know why I always do, but I was waking up like 7:30. In fact, I missed the whole sail into Ocean Cay, which I really wanted to see. And I missed the whole thing because by the time I woke up, they were already tying the ship up. So it was comfortable for me.
Christy, the shower did have the handheld thing that you could take the wand off.
Yes.
On MSC.
Now, for little children, I could definitely see that being a problem. You would want a room with a bathtub, which would probably be a suite on that ship.
Yeah, you couldn't. Either that or you'd be flooding the floor because you'd have to keep the door open.
It's so small. There's no way that you could really wash a small child in there with the door open.
not without getting the entire floor wet.
Yeah. So it definitely would be a little difficult. I guess, if you take the shower head off, you'd have more control of it. And also you can control the water pressure, so you could slow down the water so it doesn't spray everywhere. So I guess it could work. I mean, there were tons of little kids running everywhere on that ship, so they're washing them somehow.
They're just letting them swim.
Yeah, exactly. One or the other. Okay, so we've talked about a few things. So we haven't talked about Ocean K. Gosh, we've been going almost an hour and we haven't talked about Ocean K. So let's talk about Ocean K. Ocean K was a big surprise. When you see the videos, when you see the pictures, when you see all of that, it looks rough and scruffy. And that's actually what they're going for. So when you read about it, that used to be an industrial island. They used to mine sand there. And when you read up on it, MSC removed something like 7,500 tons of scrap metal and other debris from the island and now they're trying to bring it back to just a natural island. It is called Ocean K Marine Reserve. It's not called Ocean K, private island. It's actually called Marine Reserve. And they have designated, I forget how many miles around the island as a marine reserve. And so when you're looking down on it, you're like, this looks kind of scruffy. I don't know. But then once you're actually down on the island, it's quite lovely. The first thing that I noticed, really wide concrete paths. But it's a great island for anybody who is mobility challenged. If you're in a scooter or in a wheelchair, this is a great private island for that, because there are wide concrete paths everywhere on this island, because they're sending trams and golf carts all over the island, so they need good wide paths. Well, this is a great island for anybody who's in a wheelchair or scooter.
And they do have the wheelchairs with the wide wheels.
Yeah, the beach wheelchairs. So they do have
if
those.
You need them, I think they're available on a first come, first served basis.
Yeah. But that's the first thing I noticed, just big wide paths everywhere. So really, really easy to get around this island. So if anybody, uses a wheelchair or a scooter, what a great island.
It wasn't particularly well marked, though, so it was kind of hard to figure out where you were going.
It was a little bit. So here's the first thing I would recommend.
It's not big, though. So.
When you get to Ocean K, go up on a high deck and just look down and just kind of plot out where you're going to go. That's what I did the first day. Because one thing that island does have is actually it has a lot more shade than you think it does. They have a lot of trees. The way that they position the trees on the beaches and stuff, you can pull the lounge chair right up to it and you've got an umbrella for the whole day. That's pretty much what we did both days on the island. And we did have the overnight. We just pulled the lounge chairs up to palm trees, and we had umbrellas for the whole day. It was lovely.
Although you can also rent umbrellas. The lounge chairs are free, but you can rent umbrellas.
Yeah, you can rent umbrellas, but you don't really need them. You just pull up to there's enough chair. So
if you get there later in the day, you might.
So when we looked down from our balcony happened to be looking towards the island, and I spotted this whole area, which I guess is on the north. It's the side with the lighthouse. You just kind of go up that left side of the island. I saw this whole big group of palm trees. I said, let's go there. Now, the first thing you need to know is that the island is rocky. The shores are rocky. And as you go into the water, it's very uneven. You got to have water shoes. I mean, you absolutely have to have water shoes to go walking around the outer rim of the island. In the lagoon area, and then the beach that's right next to the ship itself, that is soft sand. But anywhere else, and I think where it's prettier, it really is prettier out on the shores, you need to have water shoes. And it just so happened that on the seaside, they sold water shoes, and that's probably why. They probably sold them on the island as well at one of the stores. Yeah. So if you're going to Ocean K, make sure you have some water shoes. You really do want to have those. You're going to bring your towels from your cabin with you onto Ocean K, and then make sure you bring them back to your cabin. That's a little weird oddity that they do.
They keep that's. I suppose if you found new towels, you could bring those back, but you have to replace the towels that were in your cabin. So you need to bring them back. Otherwise, you'll get charged.
And we did forget to mention that with the pools, there's like no extra towels anywhere except at the Miami Beach pool. They had some extra ones. That was kind of an oddity. Usually at every pool, they got these big towel stations. They don't have those on MSC, at least not on the seaside. So when you're walking around the island, you will spot some nice shade, get yourself a nice lounger, relax, and all of that. Now, when it comes to lunch, now, first of all, they have a cute little village when you walk in. They've got some little shops. They've got a coffee shop. They got an ice cream shop. They got a really big bar down to one side. all kinds of water sports that you can do. They've got jet skis. I believe they've got snorkeling. They might even have scuba, but I know they have snorkeling. And then we did notice that at night, the first night we were there for the overnight, they had like a sunset boat ride that you could take out there at sunset. I don't know what any of that costs. If we didn't do any of that, we were actually having dinner when we saw the boat go out. So they do have a lot of things to do on the island. Just know that it's rocky and you need to have water shoes to really be able to enjoy it. It took me about 15 minutes to walk from the ship out to the farthest point on the island. That's the other big difference with Coco Cay. With Castaway Cay and with Ocean Cay, the ship kind of parks out away. The dock goes way out off the island to allow the ship to dock up. Well, at Ocean Cay, the ship docks right up on the island, like parallel to the island. So at lunchtime, they do have a food hall. And I saw from one of my TikToks, somebody said they're building a second food hall because there must have been at least 200 people in line. Well, first of all, the food is not exciting. Definitely not worth waiting for
dogs,
200 people.
Fries.
Yeah, I mean, and they do have other things on there too.
There is some.
You know, they have your standard beach fare, right? You know, out there. But not worth standing in a long line for, especially when you look up and the ship is right there. So now Rebecca had bad knees, walk very far. From the food hall to the ship took us 5 minutes. 5 minutes to walk back to the ship. And then we took the elevator up to the buffet. We had lunch. We went back to the island. So my advice, if you're going to Ocean Cay, just leave your stuff out on the island, wherever it is. Walk back to the ship.
Card, obviously.
Yeah, just walk back to the ship, have lunch, and then go back onto the island. You're going to get a better lunch, in my opinion, than what you're going to get out there on the island anyway. And you're not going to be waiting with 200 people or whatever. So we did that both days. We did that both days. And we did notice the second day, not nearly as many people went off onto the island as the first day.
Yeah, so there wasn't a big long line for lunch.
Yeah, there wasn't a big long line for lunch the second time. And then, of course, at night, all aboard was not until 11:30 p.m. the first night. And at 9 o'clock, they had the first light show on the lighthouse. And then a big beach party erupted after that. And then at 10 p.m., they did a second show. And actually, the second show was different on the lighthouse. It wasn't exactly the same. And Rebecca was tired, so she stayed in the cabin.
Had a bit of a headache.
Yeah, and I went down onto the beach with my friends Zach and Mindy. I have to say that was fabulous. Being on the island at night, looking up at the ship, that was absolutely gorgeous at night in the water. And when the second lighthouse show happened, Zach, Mindy, and I just happened to be, we took our shoes off. We were standing in the water right next to the ship. And then the lighthouse show started. And that was just so cool. We were just remarking how cool this was to be on the island, have the ship right next to us, have this lighthouse show going off, you know. And the second show was better. Definitely better. The first show was, if you missed the first show, the second show was actually a lot better than the first one.
It was loud.
Yeah, they had the music on the beach too loud. They did two things wrong on the beach. One, it was too loud. But then secondly, they've got these speakers all along the beach. And so we were like nowhere near the party, and we still had these massively loud speakers where we would have liked it just to have been quiet by the fire. They had a very small bonfire. I mean, and when I say small, very small bonfire. But it would have been nice just to kind of stand around there and just chat, but we couldn't because the music was so loud, so we had to move. But it was really nice. It's such a unique experience. I think MSC is worth it just for that. You know, if you get on, not every single itinerary stays overnight. Some of them stay to like 10 p.m. So they still do the party. They still do the light show, but then you got to be back on the ship by 10 o'clock to go. But it is a very unique experience. I think it's totally worth booking MSC just for that. Because it's so nice because you're having a beach party, but it's at night. You're not in 90 degrees or 100-degree heat. So that was really, really nice. So a very nice surprise all around. And what else have I got? Well, some of the annoyances, I guess some little annoyances here or there. The biggest one being the Wi-Fi, how they operate the Wi-Fi. I don't quite get it. So with any other cruise line, if you get a one device package, you can log on with your phone, say, and then when you want to use your laptop, you log off your phone and then you go ahead and log on with your laptop. Well, not with MSC. When you log on to your phone, that phone is the only device that can use that Wi-Fi package. To use my phone and my laptop, I had to get a 2-device package.
And if I wanted to use my phone, we would have had to get three
device package. So you can't sign off of one device and sign on to another one. That's a little bit annoying. Not a deal breaker.
No.
Annoying.
Just need to be aware of that when you're planning your internet purchase.
Yes, definitely. And they do have kind of an interesting credit card system where you set up your credit card before you go on the ship. You know, that's kind of standard. But then they also have these credit card kiosks on the ship where they want you to do it again. I guess just to make sure that it's actually in there. But then sometimes like your credit can run out and you got to recharge your card or something like it. It's kind of a strange system. And it caught a few people, like one of our friends who was in the yacht club, like all of a sudden it was like, oh, you can't make any more purchases because you've got to add more to your card. And I just thought that's just kind of an odd system. Maybe that's how they do it in Europe a lot, but again, an annoyance. And then I kind of wish that Biscayne buffet would have been open for lunch rather than just for breakfast. I'm like, that's a lot of work just to open it up for breakfast and then just shut it back down again. I will say, if you have kids, I've never seen a smaller arcade in my life. Never mind on a ship. It's basically like a pizza joint, you know, where they have like 2 or 3 arcade machines. That's all they had, 2 or 3 arcade machines. And then they had the bowling alley. And then they had the F1,
and they had an interactive cinema thing.
Yeah, they had an interactive cinema thing that I really didn't want to do. But hey, Christy, you have a good night. Yeah, it is almost bedtime. I will tell you, if you want to do the F1 simulator, it is a heck of a lot of fun. I think it's worth it. My big piece of advice, though, and I don't quite understand why they do this. When you first start out, you're in the garage. They make you drive out of the garage and get to the and then drive through the pit to get out on there. I'm like, why don't we just start in the pit? That's so weird. But if you're going to do the F1, you've got to feather the throttle. Don't just jam it. You got to feather the throttle. And I was one of the few people that actually completed a lap because I was just feathering the throttle. I wasn't trying to jam it. I may not have driven as fast as everybody, but I got around the entire track and I did it in good time. So that's my big piece of advice. So,
and the other odd thing was that they sell these fun passes, which are good for some of the games, but not all of the games that are there.
Most notably, the air hockey is not included in the fun pass. And I mentioned something about that, and a parent turned around and goes, oh, yeah, you're right. It's not included. He was not happy about that.
It is a loud air hockey.
It is.
I mean, not painfully that.
No.
But it made a lot of noise.
So all in all, we gave MSC a good solid 7
out of 10.
You know, good solid 7 out of 10 as a cruise line, and I think for value we give it an 8.5 because for what you're paying, you are getting good value out of it. Yes, people are going to complain about the food. Everybody complains about the food. That's
on
like the number one
every
thing.
Cruise line.
We did not see any of the issues with service. I've seen some negativity on service. People are standoffish or they're rude or whatever.
And it may well be different over in Europe than the sailings that are here.
Could be. But on our sailing, the crew was everything that you want them to be. They were very personable. They were very gracious. They, what can we do to make your cruise better was the attitude.
Yes, our room steward was very pleasant.
Oh, God, we had the best room steward.
She was very sweet.
They made them wear like traditional maid outfits at night, which was a little weird. I'm like, this is a little weird. Like the black maid outfit with the little apron thingy. I'm like, that's a little odd. I haven't seen that in ages. The ship was really run like a hotel. It's the first ship I've been on that really felt like a hotel. It didn't really feel like a cruise ship, except when you were outside. But when you were inside, it just really felt like it was a hotel, just in the mannerisms of the crew, the way they were dressed, and then certainly the little maid outfits were a little weird.
And I know the other thing that throws a lot of people. We liked it, but the smart elevators throw some people.
Yeah, the smart elevators, basically you push the buttons before you get on the elevator, and you're supposed to push the button for every person that's getting on.
One time for every person.
Yes. You push it one time for every person so that the elevator knows how many people are getting on. That's why sometimes the elevator opens and it's full, and you're like, oh, why did it do that? But what was really cool about it, not only do you push the button before you get onto the elevator, it tells you which one. So you're not like on Princess. It was like 12 elevators across, and you're like, okay, you stand over there, I'm going to stand over here, and we'll see which one opens. No, with the smart elevator, it's like elevator D6. That's the one that's going to open. Okay, great. I love it. Nurse Tara is saying, would we sail MSC again? 1000%. Absolutely, we would. Even if we weren't travel agent, I would go sail on MSC again.
And we would not, next time we're going to sail Yacht Club, but
Yeah.
I would even sail the regular again.
Absolutely.
I may not do Bella. I might do the Fantastica so I can pick my cabin.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Bella
pick
again.
my dining time, but.
Yeah, I would not do Bella. In fact, I'd probably do the Aurea, the spa level, because the pricing is so good, and then we get anytime dining out of it. The Bella, obviously, if you really just want to go in the cheapest of the cheap, but we would absolutely sail. MSC again. Again, you have to take it for what it is. I think most of the complaints that I've seen, now that we've been on the ship and seen, firsthand what it's all about, I think most of the complaints are, it's not like, fill in the blank cruise line. It's not like Royal. It's not like NCL. It's not like Carnival. And it's not. It's MSC. Just like Carnival is not Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean is not Norwegian Cruise Line. MSC is MSC. And when you pay that low of a rate to go on a ship, something has to give. Not everything's going to be the same. I thought for what we paid, we were actually getting more value than what we paid. I was actually rather surprised at the quality of the main dining room, the quality on the buffet. Yeah, there were misses on the buffet. Yeah, the buffet was repetitive, but there were things in there that were really good. And when you found those things, you're like, ooh, like those artichoke hearts, that mozzarella, like they had really good salads. They had really good rotisserie meats. So there were things on there. I even enjoyed the omelet station. The dude was just like, I loved him. He was like this little French chef. He's just in there, like just doing his little thing.
I thought really one of the weaker portions was the quote unquote ethnic food, because it was 80% Mexican.
Yeah.
And maybe throughout the week, I saw maybe one or two Asian dishes and a few Indian, but none of the Indian was particularly flavorful.
And again, something's got to give. Some things are going to work. Some things aren't.
I just stopped eating the Indian.
Did it ruin our cruise?
Nope.
No, didn't ruin our cruise.
Nope.
It takes a lot to really ruin our cruise.
Yeah.
And
sprained my ankle, and we still had a good cruise.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing I will say too, I've heard a lot of complaints about embarkation. Embarkation is a mess. Embarkation is this. We had a 3:00 embarkation in Port Canaveral. Now there were only 3 ships in that day, and really 2 big ones. We had the MSC Seaside, we had the Wonder of the Seas from Royal Caribbean, and then we actually had the Marella Discovery sitting off to the side, which is an old Royal Caribbean ship, very small Royal Caribbean ship, and no Americans can go on that, only Europeans. So we did have a light port day, but we had a 3:00 boarding time that was assigned to us by MSC. MSC assigns you boarding time with the Bella.
I think with any of them, I don't think you get to pick.
And so what we did was we rolled in at 2:00 and literally rolled in. I think there were 5 cars in front of us at the garage. We just rolled right up. We parked the car, and we were on the ship around 2:15. Literally walked right into the terminal. The longest delay was we were escorted onto the ship by a butler because they gave us the Yacht Club embarkation, which was a little weird. We just had a butler take the bag to the ship, and then we were on our own from there.
Not even really sure why we got that.
Not sure why. But that was the longest wait in the terminal, was for them to figure out. They were trying to find our cards, and that's where the cards were.
And then disembarkation was easy too.
Yeah. So your new cruiser, Nurse Tara, awesome. You just want to experience the ship. Besides, any time away from work is good. You're absolutely correct about that. And I will say, in terms of work, obviously I work from home. I'm a travel agent. Calls over Wi-Fi were brilliant. The internet was pretty good. I had the streaming package. I could not do it live. I could do 3 TikTok lives, no problem, from the ship. I don't know why the YouTube didn't work, but it didn't. But the calls over Wi-Fi were brilliant. They worked absolutely perfectly. So I if you've been hesitant to go on MSC because you've seen all the reviews, you've seen all the negativity, you have to go on there understanding that MSC is MSC. Yes, some things are going to annoy you. Some things are not going to be as good as Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Carnival. Some things are going to be better. I think the private island is now one of my favorite. It might be my favorite actual private island. I love the Virgin Voyages Bimini Beach Club the most, but that's not a private island. That's part of Resorts World. This feels like what Virgin would have done had they made an actual island all of their own. So I almost like this more than Coco Cay. It's just a beautiful, beautiful island. I mean, Coco Cay is fun in its own way. This is just a beautiful, nice
I am
island.
looking forward to seeing what they do with the adults only area.
That's true. That's true. They're building Hideaway Beach on Coco Cay, which is going to be an adults only beach. So that's going to be really, really cool. So, but yeah, but overall, you know, MSC did surprise us, and I'm very, very glad that we went on. Yeah, pleasantly surprised us. Now I have no qualms at all about presenting. I was very nervous about presenting MSC to any of my clients. The only clients that I booked on MSC are those who already knew about it going in and really wanted to get on the ship. But now, you know, at least I can speak, you know, in an educated way about, you know, the pluses, the minuses. I mean, I think that Affogato is worth booking a cruise for. That's just me. And I think Ocean Cay is worth booking a cruise for on MSC. I think it's a lovely island. Yeah, it really is.
You know, you can't go into it knowing you're spending, say, McDonald's money and expect to get a steakhouse experience. You're not. It's basic.
I think that's a good, for somebody who doesn't eat meat, that was a very good example there. You know, you can't spend fast food money and then expect to get a fine steakhouse meal. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But
as long as you know what you're getting, you should not be disappointed at all. You should be pleased.
Yeah, I think if you're disappointed with MSC, you know, you may have genuinely had a bad experience, or you were expecting something you didn't get. Certainly look at the Yacht Club. I mean, we're going to go look at the Yacht Club. So the Yacht Club is your ship within a ship experience. You get your 24-hour butler. You get the premium drinks package. You get the Wi-Fi. You got a concierge. You got your own restaurant. You've got your own pool. You've got your own lounge and bar. So it is a true ship within a ship, and it is cheap. It is really cheap. You can get into the Yacht Club for the same price as a balcony on Royal Caribbean.
And you can do express elevators. Your wristband. You get a wristband for free with the Yacht Club, and it'll let you express the elevators. Yeah. So you just, you know, tap it and the elevator comes right for you and it goes, and then you piss off everybody else who's waiting for an elevator. But I mean, you know, that is the ultimate. And we knew that if we went in the Yacht Club, we were going to get a great experience because that's what you're paying for. But you can also just go standard and you will have a very good experience on MSC so long as you take it for being MSC. Don't expect it to be Royal. Don't expect it to be Carnival. Don't expect it to be Norwegian. Certainly don't expect it to be Disney. If you take it for being MSC, I think you're going to have a very, very good time. So we've been going almost an hour and a half. This is a long one tonight. So I thank you all for staying with us. Do you guys have any additional questions that you'd like to ask before we wrap it up? I mean, this has been great. I really appreciate you all coming out here tonight. Certainly, if there's anything we can do for you, where'swaltertravel.com. Our services are 100% free. And we'd be more than happy to help you out. And Cody, if you're platinum on Carnival, you should be able to get a pretty good status match on MSC.
Yes. If you have any kind of status anywhere, if you're platinum, you know, maybe, I don't know, I can't remember where platinum is on Carnival, but just go to, just do a Google search, MSC status match. It's very simple to do. It's an online form. You fill it out, and then they'll match you up.
With the equivalent of what is in their program. So you don't get the same amenities as your own, but you get the MSC equivalent.
Yes. And Nurse Tara makes a good point too, because sometimes the Yacht Club is cheaper than the suites. And keep in mind that just because you get a suite on MSC doesn't mean you're in the Yacht Club. We did hear some complaints from some people who are like, wait a minute, I'm in a suite, I can't get in the Yacht Club. No, you can't, because that's not the Yacht Club. They have suites that are not in the Yacht Club.
They have Warrior suites.
Yeah, make sure if you want to be in the Yacht Club, you're in the Yacht Club. Because you can get suites with whirlpools that are not in the Yacht Club. You know, like I said, I think for us, the next time we book standard, we're going to book that Oreo, that spa level experience, so we can go in with the anytime dining, and then we'll have to we can get the thermal suite. Thank you, Nurse Tara. So again, if we can be of help, we are a full service travel agency. We don't just sell cruises. We do land tours. We do cruises, obviously. We do theme parks, and we do fully custom travel as well, from soup to nut. So if we can be of any assistance to you, links are in the description, or you go to where'swaltertravel.com. You go to our contact us page, and we set up a time to chat. It's that simple. You don't pay me a thing. I make my fees on commission from the travel partners. Now, some people think that they're going to save money by going directly to the travel partner versus going to a travel agent. You're not, because the commissions are already baked into the price. So the price is exactly the same. But if you go directly to the cruise line or the travel partner, they just keep the commission rather than paying us. So you don't save any money, but you do get to take advantage of our expertise. And very often, even if we don't have a better price, we may have like things like extra onboard credit or maybe some extra shore excursions or things like that. One of the cool things about travel is we do work with some amazing travel partners out there that are always putting together some extra special things for our guests. So awesome. So guys, thank you so very much for tuning in tonight. Really do appreciate it. And again, if there's anything that we can do for you guys, please do reach out to Where's Walter Travel. We will be back here next Thursday night at 8:30, hopefully with another guest. And then every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, we are on TikTok live as well. So come on over to the TikTok channel and join us over there. So everybody, thank you all so very much for coming out to join us, me and Rebecca. And everybody, y'all have a great evening wherever you are in this amazing world. We'll see you next Sunday on TikTok, and we'll see you Thursday night right back here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Good night, all.